Hello folks, thank you for joining me. I've actually I just made some small kind of tankards, and I've got to pull some handles. So just got this lump of clay ready here, and I kind of hold it just below down a little bit and hit the top of it like that, and it kind of makes it into a railroad spike. Just gives you something to hold on to, doesn't it? Because it can be, as we've all experienced, when you come to pulling handles, holding a lump of clay at about this height and pulling it, it gets your shoulder, doesn't it, about here. And you say, oh, I've often thought about inventing some kind of special hook that, that hooks up to the ceiling, that I sort of loop my arm around into this and it holds my arm there like this, you see. So I don't have to hold the clay. My arm is being held up by this loop. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is what I generally do is just dip the lump of clay into the water, dip my hand into the water, okay, and then start pulling. Now I'm just got a bucket here underneath where I pull, because I don't want to make the floor too wet, because this floor where I am here is like a linoleum floor, and otherwise I'm going to be slipping like crazy. It doesn't matter outside in the studio because it's like a concrete floor and it just gets absorbed into the floor, doesn't it? So, pulling down the clay. So you need to hold it firmly. Now dip it into the water and dip your hand into the water, okay? And then pull it all the way down, squeezing it, moving the hand position, different position, not always just in the same position, okay? Because what we need to pull down is about 18 inches of clay here. So it's a steady pull, a steady squeeze and a steady pull. And it's vitally important that you keep the clay lubricated, because if you don't, you just end up pulling off a lump into your hand, as I'm sure many of you have experienced. Okay, so now this clay that I'm using, I've wedged it, kneaded it, and oh, my arm's beginning to hurt. Where's that hook? Yeah, it's wedged, and it's what I would describe as clay that's a little bit on the stiff side, okay? It's a little bit stiffer than throwing clay. So you see how much clay I'm pulling down here. So and it's important that you get a decent length of clay. Okay, you don't want to be pulling down, only have a little thing, otherwise if it's only this long, because it's very tapered then, isn't it? So the longer it is, the less the taper is. Okay, so that's about it there now. So I'm going to put this onto this clean board that I've got here. Let's just bring the camera in a little bit down there where we're working, and you can see a bit more detail. Whoops. Okay. All right. Just want you to see me cut it off. All right. Now I know I've done this many times with you. Okay, now it's important that you pull right off the end of the lump, okay? So you just follow through and go right off the end. Okay, now you're going to take it and you're going to pull it across your wear board like that. Okay, and then you're going to cut it off vertically. That's very important. You get a nice vertical cut off. Now it is very touchy-feely, this, and it is a bit of a knack, you know, getting used to this handle pulling lark. Yeah. When you start, you know, learning how to pull handles, it can be quite a headache, you know, to get your head around it. How to do it deftly, you know what I mean? Deftly, without fuss. Now what we want to do is get these handles so they are uniform in thickness, and the cross section of the handle is important. Perhaps I ought to just touch upon that, the cross section of the handle. It wants to be the cross section of the handle. It doesn't want to be round, it doesn't want to be flat. In fact, it wants to be a little bit in between. It needs to be elliptical shape. Perhaps if I get a knife, I've got a knife here somewhere. I'm in this, oh yeah, just show you this while we're at it. Railroad spike. Something to hold on to. Knife, oh, it's over here. I'm not used to this workshop and I don't know where anything is, so I'm kind of like fumbling around a bit. Yeah, what I was going to do was just cut a cross section to show you of a handle, alright? I don't know if that'll show it. Can you see that? You see how it's kind of got a high point. It's thicker in the middle, isn't it? And it's like tapering slightly as it goes to the side. Anyway, that's a really good place to begin. Okay, well I'm going to leave those handles there right now because I've got some mugs over here I want to just see how they're doing. They've been wrapped up for a couple of days or so, and I just want to swing the camera over here and just show you what I'm doing. Okay, again I've done this many times with you before, but there's always something new to learn, isn't there? Now I kept these under plastic here. Okay, let me just talk a little bit about wrapping things up with plastic, because that's something that's actually vitally important, isn't it? That we as potters need to know, because otherwise, if you don't know how to wrap up your pots properly, what happens is the next time you come to them you think, oh my goodness, God, look, they're dried out on me. Because they can even dry out, you know, if you don't wrap them up well. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I wrap up my pots. Okay, let's suppose you've got some pots and you think, well, I'm not going to be able to come to these for at least a couple of days, so I'm going to have to wrap them up really well so they're going to stay nice and damp. So how are you going to do it? Okay, well, let's unwrap them to start with, and we'll go from the beginning. Okay, so there they are, they're unwrapped. So let's suppose that these pots are nicely, let's say they're too soft to put handles on, but you want to keep them that way for a couple of days. Alright, well if that was the case, probably what I would do is, if they were really too soft, I would just take a plastic wrap and put it over like that, okay, and make sure that it was sealed all the way around, okay, and that would probably be okay. That's one scenario. Let's imagine a different scenario. Let's imagine they're actually somewhat drier than that, and they're almost ready to put handles on, but you're not going to be able to do it for a day or two. So how are you going to wrap them? What are you going to do? Alright, because just putting a wrap on them like that, if they're almost ready, you may find when you come back to them in a couple of days that they will have actually dried a little bit too much, more than you really wanted them to. So how are you going to set them up and get them ready? Well, this is what I do with those. I'll give them a really good spray over, you see, like this. Paying attention to the ones on the ends, because the ones on the end of boards, where boards always dry first, or faster I should say. Okay, so then you're going to take your plastic and you're going to spray the inside of the plastic with water. Okay, alright, and then you're going to take this and you're going to put it over like that. And you'll find, because you sprayed the plastic, that the plastic clings to them. Okay, and then you're going to push the plastic right up tight to the pots. Okay, like that. Now don't get uptight, that's not what I said. I said press the plastic up tight to the pots. Okay, so you see the wetness of the board and the wetness of the plastic is causing the plastic to stick and cling around the pots. This is important. Okay, same on the other side. Okay, and we're not leaving more air-space around the pots than we really need. Okay, in other words, we're getting rid of the excess air, because air around a pot will cause the pot to dry. So you want to reduce the amount of air space around the pot. Hence, we are doing what we're doing right now. And if necessary, take a solid object and put it down, you know, at the end of the board or on the plastic, if it's necessary, just to keep that plastic down, because as the pots begin to dry out, the plastic may lift. You know, you might have a breeze going through your workshop, through your studio, and it'll just lift the plastic, you know, and then all that lovely humid air that you've trapped in there will all be lost. So you want to trap the humid air in and around the pots. Okay, now if you do that, you'll find that your pots will stay nice and moist and ready for you the next time you come. That's exciting, isn't it? That's a good tip, okay? Take it on board, because a lot of people's pots get spoiled because they are not kept in the right condition. Okay, that's that very briefly. Now let me just bring the camera a little closer here, because what I've got to do here with these, I need to thumb them off. As you know, I don't do any trimming of mugs. That's taboo. No, you can trim mugs if you want to, but you know, you might need till Christmas. Next Christmas, that is. You know, you don't want to be spending too long doing your pots, do you? So what we're doing is, I'm just thumbing them off round the bottom there, like that, okay? Now these are thrown sufficiently thin so that there's no need to do all this trimming lark. We want to get on with the rest of the day, don't we? We want to be stuck in here in the workshop having to be trimming, filling up our wheel with loads of trimmings, and it's all got to be recycled and it's all got to be taken out, put in buckets, and we haven't got time for that, have we? No siree. We are practicing. We're practicing to be quicker, a little quicker. Okay, so they're done now, right? Finito, Benito. No more to do with them, Jose. So, there you go. Alright, they are ready now for handling. One thing though that we could do, and is advisable to do, and don't forget to do it, because you can be caught out if you let them get too dry. You want to make sure, okay, that they are round. So using your little rounder, which is just a bisqued, tapered instrument like this, okay. You can put them back the right way and just round them, or redondify them, as I like to say. Now it's very, you can make yourself, can't you, a rounder like that. You can use anything that's slightly tapered. Another tapered pot, you know. Okay, so you're going to round them, and they are going to be, they're going to be good to go then, aren't they? Or good to be handled. Give them one more spray. Okay, we'll wrap them now, because I've got some more handles over there I've got to pull, and I want to let the handles just stiffen off a little bit before I actually come to put them on. And when I do that, we'll come back in another clip and we will handle them. Okay folks, well that's it. A few thoughts for the day. One. Okay, there you go. Okay, keep practicing. See you soon. Bye bye.